Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Niara Alexis. Sorry you can see my pillow, my blanket over there. You know, we film in the living room and we're gonna do a story time today. My time working in fashion and beauty and how I got into it. It's kind of like a sequel to like my last story time, which was like how I ended up moving to New York. So let's get into it. It's currently 9:45 and I'm about to sit here and do my makeup for nothing. That's a lot of what content creation is. Like, you're doing it for nothing. Like, we don't be going nowhere 99% of the time. If any of you have ever seen me out in public, although I've never met any of y'all out in public, if you ever see me out in public, my face looks just like this. My hair gonna be done, but I'm probably not wearing no makeup. Anyways, I have some new makeup here that I want to use. I'm gonna try to remember to call out everything, but as usual, if I don't call it out, check the description down below. I will have everything there for you. The first product we're gonna try is the RMS Re-Evolve Natural Finish Foundation. They sent me the shade 99. That's what it looks like. If you've seen their primer, it looks exactly the same, but you just like twist this up. Interesting. I've never used this before, but I did swatch it and I do think it's an okay match. So how did I break into the industry? This is a little dark. I'm gonna say that right away, the shade. It's a little, but it's something I can work with. So when I first moved to New York, I ended up working in retail. If you remember, I did not have a job when I moved to New York. I moved there on a whim. Well, not on a whim, it was planned, but I didn't have a job. That foundation, it looked a little dark when it went on initially. It is a little dark. My neck looks a little funny. We're gonna fix it with concealer though, but hold on, let me get something to wipe this off. The next product we're gonna try is a concealer from Lancome. I have tried this before, but I do like it. I have the original one like this, the Tint Idol concealer from Lancome. This is their serum concealer. This is their Natural Skin Glow serum concealer. Has the same packaging, but it's just the white top. So anyways, Wendy told me to apply for a temp agency. She was like, what you're gonna do is you're gonna go and apply for a temp agency. Now, you know when your mama be trying to tell you stuff and you don't be wanting to listen to her. And to me, it's not even really just my mama. It's really anybody. She told me to apply at a temp agency and I was like, I don't want a temp job. And she was like, apply at a temp agency. And I was like, but I don't want a temp job. And it took me going to so many different interviews that were like scams. Like, it just like seemed weird. Like it wouldn't be like a place I would like to work, or it just didn't seem legit, or it was a sales job and they had just worded it in a different way than like sales. I was just like not having any luck. And my mama kept telling me, she was like, apply for a temp agency, apply for a temp agency. And I just like didn't think it was gonna get me anywhere. Also, I didn't tell you guys, this is the Velour Fluff and Brow Pencil. It's one of my favorite. This is my everyday go-to pencil. I really like it. Not only do I like how gold it is, but you get a spoolie, brow pencil, and then I hardly ever use this side anymore, but it's like a what's this end? I can't remember. It's like a brow balm. It like fills in your brows. They had like a interview, so to speak, but it was really an interview with the temp agency to see if they want to bring me on as someone that they would pitch out to companies. I went in, interviewed. They started sending me things right away, and like what they'll do, they typically won't, well, this is what I experienced with mine, I don't know about other temp agencies, but they wouldn't submit me for something if I wasn't a good fit for it and if I didn't agree to it. They finally sent me like the thing for L'Oreal. They're like, hey, like this isn't fashion, because like they will send you other stuff too, like that necessarily wasn't fashion. It would just be like something similar to it, you know. But I was being like real picky. So they sent me L'Oreal and they're like, hey, it's not fashion, it's beauty, but like this could be a great segue into fashion, like you want to do blah blah. And they do try to, I will say, like the lady that I work with, they do try to like learn exactly like what it is you want to do. They don't just send you any and everything. They sent me L'Oreal and I was like, you know what, let's try L'Oreal, come on. What's the harm in it? So the next product I'm going to use is this Mango People bronzer in the shade Clove. It's like a stick bronzer. They sent this over to me, so nice of them. And this is, I believe this is Black owned, and it is carried at Sephora. This might have been too much contour on my nose, but we're gonna roll with it. It's very smooth, by the way. It goes on very smoothly. So they submitted me to L'Oreal, and almost immediately they emailed back and said they would want to meet with me. And I remember that day because the Haan store that I worked at the Rockefeller Center store, which if anybody works at Haan or you have worked at Haan, you know that that's store number 10. And that's like the store that gets like everything. Like they get all the like the new launches. Like if you don't, like smaller stores usually in retail like don't get like certain stuff, but like you have certain like flagship stores that will get like everything. And they'll get like the big rollout of stuff, and Rockefeller was that store. I remember when I worked at Haan in Chicago, we were considered a bigger like flagship store, but Rockefeller was like the store. Let's rewind a little bit how I even started working at Haan. I walked into, they have a Haan at Rockefeller Center, and they also have a Haan at World Trade Center. I don't know if they still have one, but they had one there, and I literally did not have an interview or anything. I just walked into the store and I asked, I was like, is your manager here? And they were like, yeah. I walked up to the manager at Haan. I was like, hey, my name is Niara. I used to work at the Chicago store. I know how to run your cash wrap back and forward. Do you guys have any seasonal positions opening? Because when I moved, it was in September. Yeah, September. This is the Pixie blush. I really only bought this because I saw it on TikTok. It's their blush on the glow blush. Now with stick products like this, I have done this before, but I don't like that it like pulls sometimes at products underneath. Like you never know when it is and isn't gonna do that. I got the shade Ruby, so what I do is I just like rub a bunch on my hand and I'm gonna pick it up with a brush. The manager at Haan was like, you know, I don't know if I'm going to be hiring. I think I've hired all my seasonal people, but I think Rockefeller might be hiring still. So I'm going to call the manager over there and see if they're looking for people. He called the manager on the spot and was like, yeah, so they are. So can you go over there today? So I literally left the World Trade Center store, went over to Rockefeller Center. I went down there, I got that job. And literally, I think like I interviewed for the job. And they asked me something and I was like, I could literally run your cash wrap right now if you wanted me to. Oh my gosh, I'm about to put powder on. Girl, you have not even blended this nose contour. So that's how I got the job at Haan. I feel like I had never like explained that part in the New York storytime vlog. I remember I was leaving work one day from Haan, Rockefeller Center, and they called me, my rep from the, what was that place called? The temp agency. She called me and she was like, hey, so L'Oreal wants to meet with you. Can you go tomorrow? And I was like, sure, let's go. This is the One Size Ultra Pink setting powder. I love this setting powder. I went to the L'Oreal offices, and when I tell you, it was like, suddenly I see, what is that song playing in Devil's Wear Prada? Like that was what I was going to fulfill. Like I was going to live out my Devil Wears Prada dreams. I got there, I interviewed for the job, and let me tell y'all, okay, I don't recommend this to many people or to anybody, honestly, after I did it this time. I lied my ass off in that interview. They said, are you good at Excel? I said, I'm excellent. This is the, before I go any further, the Jason Wu thick and fluffy brow gel. I have been hooked on this brow gel. At first it has like little fibers in it. I don't really need the fibers. I have enough brow hairs, but I just love how little the spoolie is. Y'all see that? I lied in that interview. I was like, I'm great at Excel. I do site merchandising, blah, 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 blah. And I got the job. They called me back and they were like, you got the job. They called me back like that night, I think. Now I'm trying the Mango to the People Sun Glitter Highlighter. It's a little stick like this. And with sticks like this, I just like, I'm gonna take it, rub it on my hand, and I'm gonna pat it onto my cheeks. And they were like, yeah, you got the job, girl. My rep at the agency. She called me back at the temp agency. She called me. And when I tell y'all I went into that job, I didn't know what I was doing, but I faked it. I remember vividly, like the first week or so, they gave me something to do in Excel immediately. I told y'all a lot. And I remember calling my mama crying, trying to get her to help me. I'm like, girl, you gotta help me because I don't know what I'm doing. So like at that job, I was basically in charge of everything that you saw L'Oreal facing on Walmart.com. I was in charge of. So I not only had to learn like L'Oreal system and inner workings, but I had to learn Walmart's too. And I also not only was going to the L'Oreal Hudson Yards office, but I was going to the what's that town that's right over in New Jersey? It's like right on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it. Anyways, Walmart had their office over there, and I would go over there. And I would go to the Walmart office like 3-4 times a week, and I would maybe be at the L'Oreal office like once a week. This is the Sephora Micro Smooth Powder. It's very good. I wear the shade Toffee. Just put this over, like it just everything just like smooths out. And when I tell y'all I was making pennies, I wasn't making no money. I wasn't making any money. And so when I got the job, I was trying to do like how I did in Chicago. So when I graduated college, I was still working at Haan, and then I got my 9-to-5 at Groupon. And so I had already been there so many years at Haan. I was like, hey, I got a 9-to-5. I can quit this job and y'all can have to find another cashier. Cause let me tell you, baby, I was the baddest cashier they had. Not only was I cute, but I knew how to do everything in that store, front and back. You need me to ring somebody up? Great. You need me to accept a FedEx shipment from the back? Great. You need me to put some stock in, check it in? Great. I knew how to do everything. I knew how to do stuff in the front office. Like I knew how to do everything in that store. They were like, well, can you just come in on the weekends? And I was like, sure. So I stayed at Haan on the weekends up until the store closed and worked my 9-to-5. So I was literally working 7 days a week in Chicago. So I was trying to do the same thing in New York because I was like, baby, I can use this money here. Okay, because Chicago, that was one thing, but this rent is high. I think the only reason like they didn't want to let me do it was because they just didn't know me. This is a new set from Velour. This is their, what do they call this set? Too Easy Lash Starter Kit. It looks crazy, like, because I've been using it, but it's literally just like lashes cut up. But when I tell you, these are the smallest, most discreet lashes ever. Like if you're wanting like lashes that like give you a little something, but like it's just not too much, get this set. I have a discount code. I'll link it down below for y'all. But you get like the little pin, which I didn't think these worked. So I was making pennies and I was just making stuff stretch. And you know what, me and my friend Tanisha, y'all might remember me mentioning her from other story times. She was also my friend that got married in Portugal this past fall. We laugh about this to this day. I don't know how I was making it because I wasn't making no money. Like I wasn't making any money. This is the Smashbox Super Fanned Out Mascara. I really like this mascara. I don't know if I shared it with y'all before. I know I've definitely shared it on TikTok, but I don't know if I've shared it here. It's a really, really nice, like, it's just gonna lift and separate, but just like not crazy. Tanisha worked in, she like did freelance writing and stuff on the side. So she would get invited to like parties and stuff like that, and she would invite me. She'd be like, you wanna come? And I'd be like, sure. And I go, like, I remember my first fashion week, like when I first moved there, I experienced my first fashion week with her. She took me to all the parties with her as her +1. She put her name down on a list and said yes, she was going. I would show up at the door, be like, hey, I'm Tanisha. And I would go to the fashion shows and just sit there and watch. Girl, I was really trying to live out that Devil Wears Prada dream, I told you. So after about a year or so of working at L'Oreal, I reached out to my rep at my temp agency about a raise. This is the RMS lip liner too. Y'all usually see me use the MAC Chestnut lip liner, but this is the RMS Go Nude Lip Pencil in the shade Midnight Nude. I really like this. It's like a dark brown, but it's like warmer. Then next, before I get back into our story, we have the Makeup by Mario. This is the Plumping Lip Color in the shade Cool Pink. I am obsessed with this. She reached out on my behalf and they got back to her and said that I had not shown enough progress to warrant a raise, so they were not going to do it. And so she came back to me and told me that, and she was like, well, what do you think about it? And I was like, I think I'm about to start looking for another job, because I told you I wasn't making no money. I'm fine with like starting off at the bottom as long as I have like access to move up. And so y'all are basically telling me like, what, you want me to be here like another year before I move up? I'm like, girl, I can't do this that much longer. This is the Jason Wu what do they call this, tint oil plump. It's a lip gloss. It's like a plumping lip gloss, and this is in the shade Pink Pineapple. And one day somebody reached out to me. Actually, I didn't even like apply for the interview or this job. Somebody from Michael Kors reached out to me. They reached out to me on LinkedIn. The lady from Michael Kors, she reached out to me. She told me the position. She told me how much I was making. That's really what I started doing with people. I started cutting to the chase. I don't care about all that. What am I gonna make? Because I'm making pennies over here. I don't have time. So she told me what I would be making. I was like, sign me up. And mind you, like today, if somebody offered me that, I'd be like, but I wasn't making no money. So I was just like, yes, I'll take it. So I went in and did an interview. I also called off for that interview, because remember when you had to do all your interviews in person? Like, I think back to that and I'm like, how do people interview for jobs? I went in for the interview and I remember I was like, I killed her. Like, I was so happy. I remember I left, I called Tanisha. I was so excited. Like, I was like, yeah, I did it. Like, I remember because I went into their office and I was like, it said Michael Kors on the wall, and I was like, I've been hearing the Devil Wears Prada theme song in my head. This is it, girl. This is it. This is you. Because don't get me wrong, like L'Oreal was. Did y'all hear that ice in my refrigerator? I thought somebody was coming through here, and I was about to be like, not today. I knew I got that job. I knew it. And they called me back like a day or two later, and they were like, you got the job. They called me back while I was at work too. Not only did they tell me I got the job, but the job that I applied for, they said I was overqualified for it. So they bumped me up to like a higher position. So they wanted to offer me another job that I did not interview for. It was on the same team, but it was just basically a higher pay job. I was like, I remember boo-hooing. I could not even get it out to my mama. I was like, my mama thought something was wrong with me. Wendy was about to hop on the aeroplane and she had to be like, Niara, calm down, Niara, calm down. And not me feeling a little misty. I was so emotional because that was what I had been working towards. Do you see the way this highlight is going? What? Mango People Sun Glitter. I just took a little bit on my hand and dip. And I will never forget my first day. It was like September, because I told y'all I did this like a year out. Like, I asked for my raise at L'Oreal like maybe July. I interviewed all of August, and I started working at Michael Kors in September. So this is like a full year after I had first moved to New York. I just remember being so excited, like, and being so happy. Every day when I used to go into like those first couple months of going to work at Michael Kors, every day I would get off that train. I would get off like I think it's like the BD right there outside of Bryant Park. I can't remember what the stop is called, but it's like the orange train. I would get off of that train and like be walking up Bryant Park to my building. That song, Suddenly I See, the Devil Wears Prada song, will be playing in my head, because I was like, girl, you finally did it. You made your way here. So I was so proud of myself. And then, you know, like with any job, like you be wanting, and then once you get there, you be like, not saying like I wasn't grateful. There were plenty of times where I had to stop myself and be like, you prayed and cried and all that stuff so hard to get here. You better be thankful. So like towards the end of my journey at Michael Kors, there wasn't anything really. Company's gonna be company. They gonna look out for themselves, okay? This was like during COVID and everything, and I was interviewing every single day at home because we was working from home. Everybody's doing COVID and all that type of stuff. But that's when I made the decision. I was like, you know what? I went to New York. I came to do what I needed to do. I hit the beauty scene. I hit the fashion scene. I hit the ground running. I know that I can do that now. I don't have no patience for it no more. So I moved back to Chicago.